Alright.
In the
Last
early
true
morning
crime of the
hours
day.
of Valentine's Day 2019,
Killer husband realizes wife is still breathing.
a woman named Olivia Jones walked the aisles of a local supermarket known as HEB Plus in preparation for dinner with her husband Chris. As she gathered the ingredients, she observed a bouquet of pink and red roses, colors that symbolize tenderness and passion. As Olivia exited the store with the roses in her cart, she was unaware that in less than 40 minutes, she would be dead. A horrible consequence of so-called toxic love. The police would find her on her bedroom floor in a quiet neighborhood in Beaumont, Texas. 11 minutes earlier, her loving husband Chris dialed 911.
Beaumont 911, what is the address of your emergency?
Please, hurry. Customer take the gun.
Tell me what's going on.
I'm at home, my wife inside the head.
Please, somebody shot in the head.
My wife, please.
Tell me,
Okay.
where is she shot?
In the head.
Okay, where in the head?
Take it in the window.
Okay. I want you to try to control the bleeding.
As soon as the call disconnected, officers headed on their way to the Beaumont, Texas home of Chris and Olivia, located at
I mean, bro, these 911 officers, no offense, bro, they gotta be like more like less sped, bro. That's the only way I know how to put it. The nigga literally said she shot in the head. You should already be sending niggas over there talking about trying to get simple conversation, bro. If the nigga is clearly panicking, gang, you're not gonna get simple conversation out the nigga.
575 Pine Bur Boulevard. At 8:55 a.m., they arrived. Officer Otis Butler was met by a familiar face, 40-year-old Christopher Ray Jones, who was visibly distressed. Officer Butler was close friends with Chris and his wife Olivia. His body cam was rolling while Chris urged the officers to hurry into the house.
In my bedroom. Where's the gun? In the bedroom. Broken down on the dresser. Come this way. Okay. Please, come this way. This way. Okay. Please.
As alluded to earlier, the officers made their way to the bedroom and found Olivia lying on the floor.
Baby!
Sir. Okay. Step back.
What's up, Mr. Bull? I tried to take it.
Give him.
Olivia was found face down with a gunshot wound to the back of her head. Astonishingly, she was still breathing. When the officers rolled her over, they discovered that the bullet had pierced through her right eye. The room she was found in was covered in blood, with spatter all over the walls. The paramedics arrived, and while they tended to Olivia, the police secured the area. Officer Butler had Chris walk him through the events leading up to the shooting.
What happened? We had a disagreement. And I say, baby, if you're not working with me, you're working against me. I say, we've been doing this. My 19-year-old stepdaughter was 8. My 11-year-old was 1. I say, Olivia, we can't get it together. We can't be together. Okay. We got several. And I say, I just want a divorce. And her reaction was, she got the gun. I said, give me the gun. She like, I don't remember which hand. I'm like, give me that gun. What is you doing? Stop trying to stab me. I took it. You grabbed it, went off. She yanked. I grabbed it, and she yanked back. The gun went off. Okay, the gun went off.
Chris's story immediately set off red flags. How could such a large man be overpowered by his significantly smaller wife? Chris dropped to his knees in anguish, but there were no tears as he asked Officer Butler if he could go check on Olivia.
Mr. Butler, I got help. No. You don't need to go in there, okay? Is she alive? Yeah, she is. She is. Got him. Is she alive, Mr. Butler? Please don't tell me she's alive and she's not. Yeah, when I saw her, she was. She was talking? She wasn't talking. Is she breathing? It looked like she was breathing.
What is wrong? Is this nigga like coked out? Like,
Ooh, like, don't go in there, sir. Please. Sir, I need you to stay back here with me, okay? And calm down. Calm down?
Upon learning that Olivia was still breathing, Chris's reaction seemed strangely devoid of relief or happiness. Another red flag for Officer Butler. Back inside the home, Olivia's wounds proved to be fatal, and just after 9 a.m., she was pronounced dead. Officers searched the rest of the home and noticed that in addition to the surveillance cameras installed on the exterior of the house, there were 2 more cameras mounted in the living room, monitoring the interior of the house as well. They also discovered the gun that Olivia was shot with, a 9mm pistol covered in blood. However, they found it strange that the gun was in a different room from where the shooting took place. If Olivia was holding the gun when it went off, how did it end up in a different room? The only logical answer was that Chris must have moved it. Following this discovery, the officers decided that the best course of action was to detain Chris until they had a better understanding of what really happened. As Chris was getting handcuffed, his 19-year-old daughter, Ariel, arrived at the house. She had already been contacted by Chris, who told her what had happened. She was clearly devastated. While the officers tried to console Ariel, Chris was escorted to the back of a police cruiser. Lead Detective Mendy Freeman and Sergeant Yvette Barrero of the Forensics Unit arrived at the residence and were immediately caught up to speed.
According to him, she grabs a 9mm in their bedroom. And she did that. He claims he reached for the gun, trying to get it from her. And when he reached for it, and they struggled over it, boom.
At that moment, Olivia's sister Angela arrived at the scene.
That is not what he said. He said he tried to grab the gun, she yanked it, and when she yanked it back, it popped. But gang, they said that the bullet went through the back of her head, nigga, and like pierced her eye. So it went through the back of her head. Gang. So unless she was like these, nigga, that don't make no sense, bro. Something's not adding up.
Ariel once again broke out into hysterics. All of the evidence was collected and sent to the crime lab. Chris was brought down to the station where they took photos of his hands still covered in blood.
They're waiting for the lead detectives. They're going to be the ones that actually interview you, so.
When the detectives finally arrived at the station, they started Chris's interview by asking him what caused the argument. He said that he felt as if Olivia wasn't pulling her weight in the
This a
relationship.
big ass nigga.
I am very particular. If you heard that, that's true. I am very particular. You strive for the best for people. I work really hard, and I don't make excuses for myself, and I don't accept excuses for anybody else.
After telling her that he wanted a divorce, she went to the bedroom and grabbed the gun.
What did you say?
Really? You serious? Really? This is not going to solve anything.
Okay.
You know, this is not, you do not want to do that. Put that freaking gun down before you make a mistake and hurt yourself. She was crying. She was crying.
Chris handed over his cell phone, which had access to the home security camera footage.
Say, when you want to access just that camera, you touch that. And that's just that camera. Okay? Good, you understand so far. Let's go back to devices. Yes, sir. And everything is labeled. Carport, backyard, front door, back door, laundry room, inside garage, living room, kitchen.
Goddamn, how many fucking how many cameras you need in your house?
Footage hoping to corroborate Chris's story. At 8:41 a.m., Olivia can be seen going about her morning routine in the kitchen. Then, all of a sudden, the footage cuts out. 3 minutes later, at 8:44 a.m., the video is back up, and Chris is captured frantically pacing around. Going about her morning routine in the kitchen. Then, all of a sudden, the footage cuts out.
Nigga, you popped her in the back of her
This
shit
footage
as soon
hoping
as
to
she...
corroborate Chris's story. At 8:41 a.m., Olivia can
This
be
nigga just walks.
seen going about her morning routine in the kitchen. Then, all of a sudden, the footage cuts out. 3 minutes later, at 8:44 a.m., the video is back up, and Chris is captured frantically pacing around the house while on the phone with 911. 11 minutes later, at 8:55 a.m., the responding officers can be seen entering the residence. That means that Olivia must have been shot during this 3-minute gap in the footage. In the interrogation room, Chris was asked why this footage was missing. He claimed that he had no idea.
We're still trying to pull up these videos here. Why would there be no recordings on it? I don't know. It should be. Everybody in that house should be on it. But like I said, the internet, you can go through days and it pretty much does it. We shouldn't have bought that. You just keep like you.
Unless, no, I'm not gonna give him excuses, but At my dad's house, a lot of the times it only records like when there's movement, so it's not gonna record like just throughout the what's called. But when there's movement, whenever there's any in the one in the front, when there's movement, it records. It records. It has like a steady stream where you could just watch it live or shit. But there's like clips, any movement, a car passes by, it records a little 30 seconds of a car pass by. This happened. This happened. But it's not gonna record if there's no movement.
Whatever day you want, it's never gonna be consistent. That's why I said it was a waste of money. Well, I'm going desperately.
I know when a nigga's chatting, bro, and he's 100% guilty. I just know this technique. This is when I was fighting cases in the principal's office back in my sixth grade years, bro. You try to add a little 2 cents on the end of every little sentence to make it hit that much more whole time. They're not buying shit, nigga.
Just keep, like, you can pick whatever day you want, and it's never gonna be consistent. That's why I said it was a waste of money. Well, I'm going desperately to find some video on here that corroborates what you're telling us, but almost all the videos start right after this event happened.
Chris had a bunch of excuses, from internet problems.
What about the other angle? Didn't he have another angle?
But at this point, the detectives were taking anything Chris said with a grain of salt. It seemed more likely that Chris, the only one with access to the footage, had tampered with it. Since they did not have the video, they had Chris reenact the moment that he tried to disarm Olivia.
Now go ahead and do the live issue. Towards it. Give me the. And I go. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, you're good.
I
I'm
want the
sorry.
chair.
I'm sorry. You're fine.
Where's the chair, man?
I'm reliving it.
Are you are?
I'm reliving it.
So she should be shot in the back of her right head.
Did you feel me twist your? Did you feel me twist?
Back here.
Did you feel me twist your? I twisted.
With each question asked, it seems as if Chris was improvising the answer, actively trying to make the puzzle pieces fit together, rather than telling the truth.
Gang, that's another thing, bro. You're trying to twist and turn the shit exactly what this nigga said. Bro, I'm not trying to help niggas get away with it, but gang, a lot of your shit has to say, like, I ain't gonna lie, in the moment when shit happens, you gotta say, dude, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was so focused on the gun, I didn't see the way her head was turned or nothing. Like, I didn't see the way her head was turned or anything. Like, I just tried to twist the gun out of her hand. I jumped at the gun. All I know is I heard the pop. That's what happened. Now, I went to that. I don't know the way. I don't remember the way because my focus was on the gun. That's what you got to say. This nigga's like, oh, yeah, so I twisted at a 90-degree angle. And I think she tilted her head like this. So when the shot went off, like, her head was twisted exactly like this so that the bullet could have transferred, and that's how it got throughout her eye. Nigga, there's no way you would have known that it happened in real time.
Detectives ended their initial interview feeling more suspicious of Chris than ever. They then moved on to other members of the family, starting with Olivia's sister, Angela.
Olivia Jones is your sister, right? We've been talking a lot lately. We talk every day. I drop her baby to her at the tax office. She's always been timid about everything. But she was the type that whatever went on in her home, she would keep it there.
Kind of a
private person.
Yeah, facts.
She loved her baby so much that she thought she had to live for them. She would never.
Angela went on to reveal the extent of Chris's control over Olivia.
She can't talk on the phone after a certain time. He controlled the finances. He never wanted to be in the presence of her family reunions, anything. He never came. But she would have to step off, and when he would call, and all you could hear was him screaming and yelling on the phone. His character is agitation. Like, his character is to be aggressive. I just don't get it. Because all she wanted, my sister was a married type. All she wanted was to be loved. Yeah. She loved love. Like, she loved her babies. She wanted to live for her babies.
To make matters worse, Chris's ex-wife Letitia, who he initially met back in 1999, corroborated his pattern of controlling and aggressive behavior.
I met Chris Jones in 1999. It was just like a constant fight. Like, he strangled me, choked me out, drugged me through the house.
What?
My skin was missing off my back. One time he bit my hand. He had this bite marks in my hand. This was
Why don't you like? When did you say enough's enough as a
not
female?
clean. He's told me that he would kill me if I was to ever leave him. Told me how he would do it. The reason I never said anything or went for help was because I was extremely in fear of my life. Because I knew and I felt in my heart that he would kill me.
And most damning of all were the allegations made by Olivia's daughter Ariel during her interview. She explained what it was like living at the house with her mom and Chris.
One time they were arguing and I heard her say she couldn't breathe. I would see bruises on her. It broke her down to the point where...
Why don't you tell? Why don't you go to the authorities?
He believed what he said. You won't be nothing without me, stuff like that. Everybody knows my mama. Everybody knows my mama. Everybody knows that we were her world.
With each person interviewed, the allegations against Chris were stacking higher and higher. They doubled back with him, urging him to tell the truth about what actually happened to the missing footage.
Non-self things.
I'm guilty. Not deleting those videos. I'm guilty.
Not if you say right now, what you just said, well, I freaked out, I panicked, I did some stuff I shouldn't have done. Is that one of them?
Yes.
How many did you delete?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just afraid of being blamed for something I didn't do something. That looks really bad. Come on.
While the confession was a much-needed win for the detectives, there was still no trace of those.
That was a good-ass
3 minutes of
little...
footage. However, the detectives did their due diligence. They spent the days combing through all available footage from the house to see for themselves what daily life was like for the Jones family. In these recordings, the true nature of Chris and Olivia's relationship was on full display.
They ain't gonna be looking stupid. Look on the floor. Look on the floor. Look on the floor, Mike. Look on the floor. Look on the floor. Look on the floor. Look on. That is how is that like that? I'm not paying attention. What the man? You wasn't worried about the son who fixed a minute ago. That's your mother. Look at me like that, bitch. I'm not playing with you. Lazy. You want to do something now? Give it here. You got all the goddamn answers. You don't do a goddamn thing around this. Right. This your ass, bitch. That's clean dish. That's clean.
They fell on the floor, so I didn't want to reuse them.
You look at it. You don't pay.
Yo, hell nah, bruh. I pray nobody has to go through no shit like this. What the fuck? What in the hell?
What you doing? You all over the place, Olivia.
Nah, he definitely was hitting her.
You ain't got the chance to play no. Hold on the wall. Who you bringing now?
Me?
That don't live here. It's you. It'll always be you.
Chris would take any chance that he could to bully Olivia, constantly putting her worth into question, even humiliating her in front of her own daughter.
When I got the show ass, you just have a job. You collected unemployment. You just had off. And most men in this world want a woman and got what? You wouldn't be doing it if I wouldn't have got upset. You would have bagged it. Life would be so much easier for me if you start thinking. You do dumb. Because you don't think.
This footage shed light on Chris's true colors and confirmed the allegations of abuse from Olivia's family. Detectives also looked into Chris's criminal records and discovered that he had a history of violent charges, including multiple assaults in 1996 and a domestic assault in 1998, which landed him in jail for a brief period of time. Even though they were still waiting for ongoing forensic analysis results, authorities believed that they had enough evidence to place charges against Chris.
News this morning, a Beaumont man is now facing murder charges in a Valentine's Day shooting of his wife. Police say this man, Christopher Ray Jones, who worked as a correctional counselor at the Beaumont Federal Prison, killed his wife, Olivia.
Chris was charged with first-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in April of 2019. But unexpectedly, within 24 hours after being charged, he was released on a $150,000 bond and was put under house arrest with a GPS monitor.
Now a man charged with murdering his wife is back at their home.
40-year-old Christopher Ray Jones was arrested and charged with shooting his wife in the face on Valentine's Day. His bond was set at $150,000. He paid and is now out.
Many taking to social media to voice their concerns, stating things like, "Can't believe he's out on a $150,000 bond. That's crazy. What's wrong with our system?" And, "Can't believe they would make
My
his
nigga, he
bond
paid
so low
bond.
that he got out. He should not be walking the streets."
While out on bail, Christopher was allowed to continue operating the Jones family business, a food truck called One Plate at a Time. The judge allowed Chris to work while out on bail since the food truck is directly beside his home. However, this decision was controversial amongst Olivia's family and the community. They knew Chris was the only person with Olivia at the time of her death, and they all seemed to believe that he had killed her.
This food truck on Concord Road in Beaumont is a hot topic on social media. It's not generating rave reviews from many, but condemnation from a grieving family.
I don't see how would anyone want to support someone who murdered their wife on Valentine's Day, which is a day that we are supposed to celebrate love. And the day that she was going to celebrate that with him, he decides to take her life.
Chris's image was tainted even further when the results from the crime lab came in. The bloodstain patterns at the crime scene indicated that the gunshot wound could not have happened in the way that Chris described it. Additionally, investigators found no gunshot residue on Olivia's hands, indicating that there was no way she was holding the gun when it went off. There was, however, gunshot residue on Chris's hands and clothing. Despite all of the evidence pointing towards Chris, he pled not guilty to his charges. But before his trial would take place, Olivia's family held a gathering to honor her memory.
This Valentine's Day, purple and red balloons filled Rogers Park.
Purple means domestic violence, and red was one of her favorite colors.
1 year ago today, Joshua Simmons lost his sister.
Valentine's Day was one of her favorite holidays.
I would give almost anything to have her back right now.
What's this year been like for you and your family?
If you can wrap it up in one word, it would be frustrating.
Frustrated with the fact that Jones isn't behind bars. Now the family wants to raise awareness for domestic violence, but more than anything, they want justice for Olivia.
We want him to spend the rest of his life in prison, while my sister spend the rest of her life in the grave.
After finally having an opportunity to celebrate Olivia's life, her loved ones would once again have to face her death during Chris's upcoming trial. The courtroom was packed with family members from both sides.
Cranked them. I ain't gonna lie, nigga. You coming there with ganging them in here, bro. Oh, shit.
Since Olivia's death, and despite the clear tension between the two families, they all wanted the same thing: justice for Olivia. Prosecutors Jimmy Ham and Mike Laird described Chris as an abusive partner with a violent past, and it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. Chris's defense attorney, Ryan Gertz, argued that Chris only grabbed the gun because Olivia was recklessly handling the weapon, putting both herself and Chris in a dangerous predicament. Forensic pathologist Celestina Rossi provided critical bloodstain analysis and confirmed that Olivia did not have any gunshot residue on her, contradicting the defense's claims that her death was merely an accident. The testimonies and evidence combined ultimately overpowered the defense team.
What is up with this nigga's hair?
February 8th, 2022, Christopher Ray Jones was found guilty for the murder of his wife, Olivia Jones.
1,118 days. That's how long Olivia Jones's family says they've waited for this moment. The moment when Olivia's husband, Christopher Jones, was found guilty of murder. Olivia died at the hands of her husband on Valentine's Day 2019, and instead of spending a lifetime behind bars,
we elected to agree with the state to a 30-year sentence because of the potential risk of an even higher sentence.
In exchange, Christopher waived his right to appeal the conviction.
This nigga's hair looks crazy.
Olivia and Christopher's two daughters took the stand. Looking directly at their father, they described the impact of Olivia's death. The youngest daughter, who was only 11 when her mother died, said, quote, "I'll forgive you one day, but right now I can't." Throughout the trial, the prosecution described a history of abuse that finally blew up. Defense attorney Ryan Getz argued a different version of events.
I think that we'll never know what happened in that room. Ultimately, my impression from the jurors is that they just didn't believe Chris's version of events, and that really only left the one alternative.
This was an emotional day for Olivia's family. As they were leaving the courtroom, they were encouraging each other, saying, "Today was all about Olivia, and she won."
Christopher Jones is currently serving his sentence in the John M. Wynn Unit in Huntsville, Texas.
Damn, man, a Valentine's Day fucking disaster. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. That shit's fucking crazy. That nigga knew he was guilty from the jump, nigga. I can just tell. When a nigga start chatting, bro, and a nigga start, like I said, putting extra little 2 cents off of everything, trying to make his shit sound sweet, it ain't sweet. It ain't sweet.